Before this audiobook begins, ask yourself one question that most people only ask when it is already too late. What are you becoming as the years pass? Because age is coming for everyone, but wisdom is not. Strength is not. Peace is not. A better life is not. Some people grow older and become calmer, sharper, stronger, and more respected. Others grow older and only become more tired, more bitter, more distracted, more emotional, and more full of regret. The difference is not time. The difference is what they chose to improve before life forced them to pay the price. This audiobook is not about looking young, acting perfect, or pretending you have everything figured out. It is about something far more serious. It is about becoming the kind of person your future self will thank you for becoming. The kind of person who no longer wastes energy on useless drama, no longer reacts like a child to every emotion, no longer delays discipline, no longer begs for respect, and no longer allows life to pass while waiting for the right moment to change. Because as you get older, life becomes less forgiving of weak habits. Your body asks for discipline, your mind asks for peace, your future asks for focus, your heart asks for maturity, and your soul asks for purpose. So stay with me until the final chapter, subscribe to the Book Frog, and listen with full attention, because this audiobook is not here to entertain the old version of you. It is here to wake up the stronger one. Chapter 1. Improve your discipline before life starts punishing your weakness. The first thing you must improve as you get older is your discipline, because discipline is the quiet foundation of every strong life. And without it, even the most beautiful dreams slowly turn into painful memories of what you could have become. Many people believe their life is stuck because they lack opportunity, support, talent, luck, money, or the right timing. But the truth is often much harder to accept. Most people are not stuck because life gave them nothing. They are stuck because they keep breaking promises to themselves. They say they will change tomorrow, start next week, become serious next month, and fix their life when the mood feels right. But years pass quietly while the same habits remain alive. Then one day they look back and realize that life did not destroy them in one moment. It was the daily absence of discipline that slowly stole their future. When you are young, it is easy to believe you have unlimited time. You can waste mornings, waste nights, waste energy, waste focus, waste money, waste chances, and still convince yourself that someday you will become serious. But as you get older, life begins to change its tone. It stops giving endless warnings and starts giving consequences. The habits you ignored begin to show on your body. The money you wasted begins to show in your stress. The time you lost begins to show in your regret. The focus you never trained begins to show in your unfinished dreams. This is why discipline becomes more important with age, because the older you get, the less space life gives you to keep repeating the same weak patterns without paying a heavy price. Discipline is not about becoming harsh, robotic, or emotionless. Discipline is about becoming loyal to the person you say you want to become. It is the ability to do what is necessary even when your feelings are not cooperating. It is choosing growth when comfort is calling. It is choosing patience when impulse is pushing. It is choosing long-term respect over short-term pleasure. It is waking up and doing the right thing even when nobody is watching, nobody is praising you, nobody is clapping for you, and nobody can see the private battle happening inside your mind. This is the kind of discipline that separates those who age with strength from those who age with regret. Most people wait for motivation, and that is where their downfall begins. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes whenever it wants. Some days it arrives with fire, and other days it disappears without warning. If you build your future on motivation, your life will always depend on your mood. But discipline is different. Discipline does not ask whether you feel ready. Discipline asks whether the decision still matters. Discipline does not wait for excitement. It remembers the promise. It remembers the pain of staying the same. It remembers the version of you that is tired of starting over. When motivation leaves, discipline stays. When comfort whispers, discipline answers. When excuses rise, Discipline reminds you that the price of weakness is always higher than the price of effort. As you get older, you must understand that your habits are not small things. They are silent builders of your destiny. The way you wake up, the way you eat, the way you spend your time, the way you speak to yourself, the way you handle stress, the way you manage money, the way you protect your focus, and the way you respond when life becomes difficult are all shaping the person you are becoming. Nothing is neutral. Every habit is either helping your future or harming it. Every repeated action is either building strength or building regret. This is why discipline matters so deeply, because discipline is not one big act of greatness. It is 1,000 small acts of self-respect, repeated until they become your identity. Many people want a better life, but they do not want a better routine. They want more confidence, but they do not want to keep the promises that create confidence. They want peace, but they do not want to stop feeding the habits that create chaos. They want success, but they do not want to become consistent when the results are still invisible. They want respect, but they do not respect their own word. And this is the painful truth. You cannot become proud of yourself while constantly betraying yourself. Confidence is not created by thinking positively for a few minutes. Confidence is created when your actions prove to your mind that you can trust yourself. Every time you say you will do something and actually do it, you build inner respect. Every time you break your own word, you weaken it. This is why self-discipline is one of the deepest forms of self-love. It is not punishment, it is protection. Discipline protects your body from neglect, your mind from distraction, your future from regret, your peace from chaos, and your dreams from dying quietly. A person without discipline becomes a servant to every craving, every emotion, every distraction, every lazy thought, and every temporary temptation. But a disciplined person begins to own their life. They may not control everything that happens, but they control how they respond. They may not always feel strong, but they refuse to live as if weakness is their master. They may still feel fear, tiredness, sadness, and doubt, but they do not allow those feelings to make every decision. As you get older, discipline also becomes the difference between freedom and regret. Many people misunderstand freedom. They think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want, without rules, limits, structure, or responsibility. But that kind of freedom often becomes another form of slavery. If you cannot control your impulses, you are not free. If you cannot stop wasting time, you are not free. If you cannot manage your emotions, you are not free. If you cannot say no to what is destroying you, you are not free. Real freedom is not the absence of discipline. Real freedom is created by discipline. The person who controls their habits eventually creates options. The person who refuses discipline eventually becomes trapped by consequences. Look closely at the areas of your life where you feel the most regret. Often, you will find broken discipline there. Maybe you knew you needed to take care of your health, but you kept delaying it. Maybe you knew you needed to improve your skills, but you kept choosing distraction. Maybe you knew you needed to save money, but you kept spending to escape emotions. Maybe you knew you needed to leave certain people, but you kept returning because loneliness felt stronger than self-respect. Maybe you knew you needed to build something meaningful, but you kept waiting for confidence before taking action. Regret is often the voice of discipline you ignored for too long. But this chapter is not here to make you feel ashamed. Shame does not build a stronger life. Awareness does. The purpose of looking honestly at your weakness is not to hate yourself, but to finally stop lying to yourself. You cannot improve what you keep excusing. You cannot heal what you keep hiding. You cannot become stronger while pretending your habits are harmless. The moment you admit the truth without running from it, you begin to take your power back. You do not need to fix everything in one day. You only need to stop negotiating with the habits that are clearly stealing your future. Start small, but start seriously. Many people fail because they try to rebuild their entire life overnight. They make a huge promise when they are emotional, then collapse when the feeling fades. Real discipline grows through small victories that are repeated until they become natural. Wake up when you said you would. Finish one important task before chasing entertainment. Keep your space clean. Protect 1 hour of focus. Take care of your body. Spend less time with people who drain your energy. Stop giving your attention to things that leave you empty. These may look simple from the outside, but small disciplined actions are the seeds of a powerful life. The strongest version of you will not appear because you made one dramatic decision. It will appear because you quietly choose better again and again, especially when the choice feels boring. That is where most people lose. They do not lose in the big moments. They lose in ordinary moments. They lose when they say 5 more minutes and waste an hour. They lose when they choose comfort today and pressure tomorrow. They lose when they ignore the small warning signs because nothing terrible has happened yet. But life does not always punish weakness immediately. Sometimes it waits until the cost has become too large to ignore. This is why you must become serious before life becomes severe. Do not wait for a health scare before respecting your body. Do not wait for a financial crisis before respecting your money. Do not wait for loneliness before respecting good people. Do not wait for failure before respecting focus. Do not wait for old age before respecting time. A wise person improves before the consequence arrives. A foolish person waits until pain becomes the teacher. Both can learn, but one pays a much higher price. As you grow older, you will begin to notice that disciplined people carry a different kind of peace. It is not because their life is perfect. It is because they are not constantly running from the consequences of their own choices. They sleep differently because they know they tried. They walk differently because they know they are not abandoning themselves. They face problems differently because their identity is built on consistency, not excuses. This does not mean they never struggle. It means struggle does not completely control them. Their discipline becomes an inner structure that holds them together when life becomes heavy. If you want to become older, wiser, and stronger, you must stop treating discipline like a burden and start treating it like a doorway. On the other side of discipline is confidence. On the other side of discipline is self-respect. On the other side of discipline is freedom. On the other side of discipline is the calm feeling of knowing you are no longer living below your own standards. The life you want will not be reached by wishing, waiting, dreaming, or imagining. It will be reached by becoming the kind of person who does what must be done, even when the old version of you tries to pull you back into comfort. Remember this deeply. Every year you delay discipline, life becomes harder than it needed to be. But every day you practice discipline, even in small ways, your future becomes lighter. You do not need to become perfect. You need to become consistent. You do not need to change everything instantly. You need to stop abandoning the small promises that build trust inside your own heart. Because one day, the older version of you will look back at this season of your life, and that version will either thank you for becoming serious when it mattered, or ask why you kept wasting chances you were never guaranteed to have again. Discipline is the first door because without it, every other improvement becomes weak. Your energy needs discipline. Your emotions need discipline. Your standards need discipline. Your focus needs discipline. Your purpose needs discipline. A life without discipline may still have dreams, but it will not have direction. It may still have desire, but it will not have structure. It may still have potential, but potential without discipline becomes one of the saddest things in the world, because it shows what could have happened if a person had finally chosen themselves with action instead of only imagination. So let this chapter become a mirror, not a mirror that insults you, but a mirror that awakens you. Look at your days honestly. Look at your habits honestly. Look at where your time is going, where your energy is leaking, where your promises are being broken, and where your future is quietly asking for more from you. Then make one decision. You will no longer wait for life to force maturity out of you. You will begin choosing it now, because getting older without discipline creates regret, but getting older with discipline creates power. Chapter 2. Improve the way you spend your energy before life drains what is left of you. As you get older, one of the most important things you must learn is that your energy is not unlimited, And if you keep spending it carelessly on everything and everyone, you will wake up one day feeling tired in a way that sleep alone cannot fix. When you are younger, you may believe you can give your attention to every argument, every friendship, every distraction, every emotional problem, every useless conversation, every person who needs something from you, and every dream that enters your mind for a few minutes. But as life moves forward, you begin to understand that energy is one of your most valuable possessions. Time is important, but energy decides what you can actually do with the time you have. A person can have many hours in a day and still build nothing if their mind is exhausted, their emotions are scattered, and their spirit is constantly being drained by things that do not deserve access to them. Many people lose their lives, not because they had no opportunities, but because they wasted their best energy on the wrong things. They gave their morning energy to the phone. They gave their emotional energy to people who brought confusion. They gave their mental energy to overthinking what they could not control. They gave their creative energy to fear. They gave their peaceful energy to drama. They gave their strongest years to temporary people, temporary pleasures, temporary distractions, and temporary emotions. Then later they wonder why they feel empty, why their goals remain unfinished, why they are always tired, and why their life feels smaller than it should. The answer is often painful but simple. They did not protect their energy early enough. As you get older, you must stop treating every situation as if it deserves a reaction from you. Not every comment deserves your response. Not every person deserves your explanation. Not every misunderstanding deserves your emotional investment. Not every argument deserves your night of thinking. Not every problem belongs in your hands. A mature person learns that peace is not only created by what you do, it is also created by what you refuse to entertain. Sometimes your greatest growth begins when you stop showing up for battles that only exist because someone else wants access to your emotions. There are people who do not need your solution, your wisdom, your kindness, or your patience. They only want your reaction because your reaction gives them control over your inner world. This is why energy management becomes a form of wisdom. You must learn to ask yourself before giving your attention away, will this make my life better, or will this only make me more tired? That question may seem simple, but it can save you years of unnecessary pain. Before you answer a message from someone who always leaves you confused, ask it. Before you enter an argument that will change nothing, ask it. Before you spend another hour scrolling through lives that make you feel behind, ask it. Before you say yes to something your soul already wants to refuse, ask it. Before you carry another person's emotional burden while ignoring your own life, ask it. The older you get, the more you realize that not every open door is an opportunity. Some doors are simply invitations to lose your peace. There are people who will drain you slowly because they know you are kind, available, understanding, and patient. They will come to you when they are lonely, but disappear when you need support. They will bring their problems to your heart, but ignore your pain when you finally speak. They will take your advice, your time, your care, your listening, and your forgiveness, then leave you feeling heavy while they walk away lighter. If you are not careful, your kindness will become a place where emotionally careless people come to empty themselves. This does not mean you should become cold or selfish. It means you must stop confusing love with emotional exhaustion. You can care about people without allowing them to consume you. You can support others without becoming their permanent rescue station. You can be generous without becoming available to everyone who refuses to carry their own life. One of the clearest signs that you are growing older without growing wiser is when the same people, the same problems, and the same emotional cycles keep draining you year after year. At some point, you must become honest enough to ask, why do I keep giving my energy to things that never give anything healthy back to me? This question requires courage because it forces you to stop blaming only the people who drain you and begin recognizing the doors you keep leaving open. Sometimes people continue draining you not because they are powerful, but because your boundaries are weak. Sometimes drama continues returning, not because life is unfair, but because you keep entertaining what should have been released long ago. Sometimes exhaustion is not proof that you are doing too much. It is proof that you are giving too much to the wrong places. Your energy is deeply connected to your future. The person you become 5 years from now depends greatly on where your energy goes today. If your energy goes into discipline, learning, health, meaningful work, emotional healing, prayer, reflection, strong relationships, and quiet growth, then your future will begin to look different. But if your energy keeps going into gossip, overthinking, unhealthy attachment, endless entertainment, toxic people, comparison, laziness, and emotional reaction, then your future will simply become an older version of your current confusion. This is why you cannot improve your life while spending your energy like someone who does not respect their own destiny. As you get older, you must also improve the energy you bring into your own mind. Many people are careful about what they eat, but careless about what they watch, listen to, read, repeat, and believe. They allow negativity into their mind every day, then wonder why they feel heavy. They spend hours comparing themselves to people online, then wonder why they feel behind. They listen to angry voices, bitter conversations, dramatic stories, and shallow content, then wonder why their thoughts feel noisy. Your mind is not a trash bin for every piece of information the world throws at you. Your mind is the place where your future is built before it becomes visible. If you fill it with distraction, fear, envy, and emotional noise, you cannot expect peace to grow there. Protecting your energy means becoming selective with what enters your life. It means choosing what you watch, because your eyes influence your thoughts. It means choosing who you listen to, because voices shape your beliefs. It means choosing your conversations, because words can either strengthen your spirit or weaken it. It means choosing your environment, because the places you stay in will slowly become part of your identity. Many people want to change their life while keeping the same mental diet, the same emotional environment, the same draining people, and the same weak habits. But you cannot become stronger while constantly feeding what makes you weak. You cannot build peace while continuing to live inside noise. There is another form of energy loss that many people never notice: the energy wasted trying to control things that are not yours to control. You cannot control what people think about you. You cannot control whether someone appreciates your heart. You cannot control whether people tell the truth about you. You cannot control the past. You cannot control every outcome. You cannot control who leaves, who changes, who regrets, who remembers, or who understands. But you can control your response. You can control your discipline. You can control your standards. You can control what you give access to. You can control whether you keep investing your mind in things that bring no peace and no progress. A wise person stops wasting strength on locked doors and begins building the life that is still available. As you get older, you must understand that overthinking is one of the biggest thieves of energy. It can make you feel exhausted without taking a single physical step. You sit in one place, but your mind travels through old conversations, future fears, imagined rejection, painful memories, and situations that may never happen. Overthinking convinces you that you are solving something, but often it is only draining the strength you need to actually live. There is a difference between reflection and rumination. Reflection gives you wisdom. Rumination gives you anxiety. Reflection helps you decide. Rumination keeps you trapped. Reflection teaches you what to do next. Rumination keeps reopening the same wound without healing it. If you want to become older, wiser, and stronger, you must stop allowing your mind to become a battlefield for every fear that enters it. Your emotional energy must also be protected from people who only value you when you are useful. There are people who will not respect your peace until your absence teaches them that access was a privilege. They will call you distant when you stop overextending. They will call you changed when you stop tolerating disrespect. They will call you selfish when you stop carrying what they should have carried themselves. But their disappointment does not always mean you are wrong. Sometimes it means the old pattern is finally breaking. You cannot become stronger while remaining available to every person who benefited from your lack of boundaries. growth will offend people who were comfortable with the version of you that never said no. A powerful life requires energy for important things. You need energy to think clearly. You need energy to build discipline. You need energy to take care of your body. You need energy to learn new skills. You need energy to heal your heart. You need energy to make wise decisions. You need energy to create, lead, work, love, and grow. If your energy is already consumed by emotional drama, endless scrolling, unhealthy relationships, and mental noise, then nothing meaningful receives enough of you to grow. This is why some people stay stuck for years. They are not lazy in a simple way. They are emotionally exhausted from giving their best energy to things that produce nothing but stress. You must begin seeing your energy as an investment, not just a feeling. Every day you are investing your energy somewhere. The question is, what is it building? Is it building peace? Or is it building anxiety? Is it building confidence? Or is it building insecurity? Is it building your future? Or is it feeding your distractions? Is it building your self-respect, or is it keeping you attached to people who do not value you? The results of your life are often the result of repeated energy investments. If you keep investing in the wrong places, you cannot be surprised when the right places remain empty. One of the most mature decisions you can make is to stop explaining your boundaries to people who are committed to violating them. Your energy is too valuable to spend convincing people why respect matters. A person who truly respects you does not need a long argument to understand basic consideration. A person who values your peace will not treat your limits like a challenge. As you get older, you should not have to keep teaching grown people how to treat you with decency. You can communicate once with clarity, but if the same pattern continues, your next lesson should be distance. Sometimes silence saves more energy than explanation ever could. Another thing you must improve is the energy you give to comparison. Comparison is dangerous because it makes you disrespect your own journey while admiring someone else's highlight. You see another person's success, relationship, money, body, confidence, or lifestyle, and suddenly your own life feels smaller, but you do not know the full price they paid. You do not know their private battles. You do not know their timing, their sacrifices, their pain, or their hidden emptiness. When you compare, you give your energy to a race that may not even belong to you. As you get older, you must become too focused on your own path to keep measuring your life against people who are walking a different road. The older you get, the more you must choose depth over noise. You cannot keep spreading yourself thin and expect to build something powerful. You cannot keep giving a little energy to everything and wonder why nothing meaningful grows. Strong people simplify their lives. They know what matters. They know what drains them. They know what deserves their focus. They know what must be released. Simplicity is not emptiness. Simplicity is strength. It is the ability to remove the unnecessary so the necessary can finally breathe. A life filled with too many distractions may look busy, but a busy life is not always a meaningful life. Protecting your energy also means respecting rest. Many people think rest is weakness, but rest is part of strength when used wisely. You are not a machine. You cannot keep pushing your body, mind, and emotions without eventually breaking something inside yourself. There is a difference between rest and laziness. Laziness avoids responsibility. Rest restores your ability to carry responsibility well. A wise person knows when to work, when to pause, when to step back, when to be silent, and when to recover. If you ignore rest for too long, life may force you to stop in a way you did not choose. Discipline gives effort its structure, but rest gives effort its sustainability. As you get older, your energy should become more sacred because your life becomes more serious. You cannot afford to keep spending your strongest attention on temporary entertainment while your future waits unfed. You cannot afford to let people with no direction pull you away from your own. You cannot afford to keep reacting to every emotional trigger as if your peace has no value. You cannot afford to keep entering the same circles that leave you spiritually tired. Every year asks more from you. Your responsibilities grow, your body changes, Your dreams require more focus. Your future becomes less patient with delay. That is why your energy must be protected like something precious. There is a calm power in becoming selective. Selective with people, selective with conversations, selective with habits, selective with what you allow to influence your mood, selective with what you watch before sleeping and what you think about after waking, selective with whose opinion matters and whose opinion must pass through your life like wind. Being selective is not arrogance, it is maturity. It is the understanding that your life cannot become strong if your energy remains available to everything weak. The people who age well are not always the people who had easy lives. Often, they are the people who learned where not to spend themselves. They learned not to give anger an entire day. They learned not to give jealousy a permanent home. They learned not to give gossip their attention. They learned not to give toxic people unlimited access. They learned not to give fear the final decision. They learned not to give regret the power to stop them. They learned that energy must be directed, not scattered. And because of that, their presence becomes stronger, calmer, and more grounded with time. If you want to become older, wiser, and stronger, you must begin today by auditing your energy honestly. Look at what leaves you drained. Look at who makes you feel smaller. Look at what habit steals hours from your life. Look at what conversation always pulls you into negativity. Look at what memory still controls your mood. Look at what environment weakens your discipline. Look at what you keep saying yes to when your soul is begging you to say no. This honesty may be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. You cannot protect what you refuse to examine. Then begin making changes, not loudly but seriously. Remove one unnecessary distraction, limit one draining conversation, stop replying to one person who only brings confusion, protect 1 hour of deep focus, give your body proper rest, give your mind better input, give your future the energy you used to waste on temporary things. These small choices may not impress anyone at first, but they will slowly rebuild your life from the inside. The strongest changes are often invisible in the beginning. They happen in private, in the quiet decisions nobody sees, until one day your entire energy feels different. As this chapter closes, remember this truth deeply. Your energy is your life in motion. Where your energy goes, your life follows. If you keep giving it to noise, your life becomes noisy. If you keep giving it to fear, your life becomes small. If you keep giving it to discipline, peace, purpose, and growth, your life begins to rise. You cannot become strong while constantly feeding what drains you. You cannot become wise while giving your mind to every distraction. You cannot become peaceful while opening your spirit to every storm. The older you get, the more important it becomes to protect what remains of your strength, because your future does not only need your time, it needs your energy, your attention, your presence, and your full commitment to becoming the person you were always meant to be. Chapter 3. Improve your emotional control before your feelings start controlling your life. As you get older, one of the greatest things you must improve is your emotional control, because a person who cannot control their emotions will eventually be controlled by people, memories, pressure, anger, fear, sadness, loneliness, and every temporary feeling that enters the mind. Many people believe they are free because nobody is physically forcing them to live a certain way, but they do not realize they are still prisoners of their reactions. One word can ruin their entire day. One message can disturb their peace. One delay can make them lose patience. One rejection can make them question their worth. One painful memory can pull them back into a place they promised themselves they would leave behind. This is why emotional control is not a small improvement. It is one of the foundations of maturity, strength, respect, and inner peace. When you are younger, you may think reacting quickly means you are honest, strong, or passionate. You may believe that speaking out of anger means you are defending yourself, that cutting people off without thinking means you are powerful, that shouting means you are serious, that over-explaining means you care, and that being controlled by emotion is just proof that your heart is real. But as you get older, Life begins to teach you that every uncontrolled reaction has a cost. The angry message you send in 1 minute can damage a relationship that took years to build. The emotional decision you make in one night can create regret that follows you for months. The words you speak when your mind is burning can hurt people you never wanted to hurt. The choice you make during sadness can pull you back into situations that your wiser self already escaped. Emotional control does not mean you become cold, silent, fake, or heartless. It does not mean you pretend nothing hurts you. It does not mean you stop feeling deeply. Real emotional control means you feel everything, but you do not allow every feeling to become your master. You can feel anger without letting anger choose your words. You can feel sadness without letting sadness destroy your discipline. You can feel loneliness without letting loneliness drag you back to people who broke your peace. You can feel fear without letting fear cancel your dreams. You can feel disappointment without letting disappointment turn your heart bitter. That is what maturity looks like. It is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to remain guided by wisdom even while emotion is present. Many people ruin their lives, not because their emotions are wrong, but because they obey every emotion too quickly. They feel offended, so they attack. They feel insecure, so they compare. They feel lonely, so they return. They feel afraid, so they quit. They feel bored, so they distract themselves. They feel rejected, so they chase harder. They feel hurt, so they try to hurt someone back. The emotion arrives, and they immediately become its servant. But feelings are visitors. They are not always truth. They are not always direction. They are not always wisdom. A feeling can be real and still be wrong for your future. A feeling can be strong and still not deserve your obedience. A feeling can be painful and still not be a command. As you get older, you must learn to create space between what you feel and what you do. That small space is where your life changes. The old version of you may have reacted instantly, spoken instantly, replied instantly, defended instantly, panicked instantly, and decided instantly. But the wiser version of you learns to pause, not because you are weak, but because you finally understand that reaction is expensive. A pause can save your peace. A pause can save your dignity. A pause can save your future. A pause can stop one emotional moment from becoming a long season of regret. Strong people are not strong because they never feel the fire. They are strong because they do not let the fire burn down everything around them. Anger is one of the first emotions you must learn to master as you get older. Anger can be useful when it shows you that something is wrong, but it becomes dangerous when it controls your tongue, your hands, your decisions, and your pride. Many people confuse anger with power because anger feels strong in the moment. But uncontrolled anger often reveals weakness. It shows that anyone who knows how to provoke you can control you. It shows that your peace can be stolen by the behavior of another person. It shows that your mind can be pushed into chaos by someone else's words. True strength is not proving how loudly you can react. True strength is staying grounded when something inside you wants to explode. There will be people who test your emotional control because they know the old version of you. They know what words make you defensive. They know what silence makes you panic. They know what accusations make you over-explain. They know what disrespect makes you chase validation. They may try to pull a reaction from you because your reaction gives them proof that they still have access to your inner world. This is where growth must become visible. You must learn to stop giving people the satisfaction of controlling your emotional weather. Not every insult deserves your anger. Not every lie deserves your defense. Not every misunderstanding deserves your correction. Not every person deserves to see how deeply they affected you. Sometimes the most powerful answer is the calm decision not to be pulled out of yourself. Sadness is another emotion that must be handled with wisdom. Sadness can soften you, deepen you, and teach you what truly matters. But if you do not manage it carefully, sadness can begin making choices for you. It can convince you to isolate yourself from the people who care. It can tell you that your future is finished because one chapter hurt you. It can make old pain look like home simply because it is familiar. It can make you believe that a temporary emotional season is the permanent truth of your life. As you get older, you must learn to honor sadness without building your identity around it. You can be sad and still take care of yourself. You can grieve and still move forward. You can hurt and still refuse to become the wound. Loneliness is one of the most dangerous emotions because it often disguises old pain as comfort. Many people do not return to toxic people because those people have changed. They return because loneliness becomes too loud. They miss having someone to message. They miss the routine. They miss the familiar voice. They miss the feeling of being wanted, even if that feeling came with confusion, disrespect, or emotional exhaustion. Loneliness can make a harmful place look warmer than it really was. This is why emotional control matters so much. You must be able to say, "I miss them, but I will not return to what broke me." You must be able to say, "I feel alone, but I will not use my loneliness as an excuse to betray my peace." That is not easy, but that is maturity. Fear is another emotion that becomes more serious as you get older. Fear of failure, fear of starting again, fear of being judged, fear of losing time, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of being alone, fear of choosing the wrong path. If you allow fear to make every decision, you may live safely, but you will not live fully. Fear will always give you reasons to delay. It will tell you to wait until you are ready, wait until you are confident, wait until people approve, wait until the risk disappears, wait until life feels easier. But life does not become easier for the person who keeps delaying courage. The older you get, the more you must understand that fear may sit in the room, but it cannot be allowed to hold the pen that writes your future. Emotional control also means learning not to make permanent decisions during temporary storms. Never make a life-changing decision only because one bad day made you feel weak. Never end something valuable because one moment of anger blinded your judgment. Never return to something harmful because one lonely night made you forget the full story. Never give up on your dream because one failure made you feel embarrassed. Never speak words you cannot take back because one emotion demanded expression. A mature person understands that some decisions require a calm mind, not a wounded mood. When your emotions are high, your wisdom often becomes quiet. And that is exactly when you must slow down. Many people destroy their peace because they believe every emotion must be expressed immediately, but emotional honesty without emotional discipline can become damage. Yes, your feelings matter, but the way you express them also matters. You can speak truth without cruelty. You can set boundaries without hatred. You can disagree without disrespect. You can feel pain without turning it into punishment for others. You can say what needs to be said without letting your ego turn the conversation into a battlefield. As you get older, your emotional expression should become more refined, more intentional, and more respectful, because the goal is not to release emotion blindly. The goal is to communicate with strength and clarity. Another sign of emotional maturity is the ability to stop taking everything personally. Not everything people do is a statement about your worth. Some people are rude because they are carrying bitterness. Some people are distant because they are fighting private battles. Some people disappoint you because they are limited, not because you are unworthy. Some people do not appreciate you because they never learned how to value anything properly. If you take every action as a direct reflection of your value, you will spend your life emotionally bleeding from wounds that were never truly yours to carry. As you get older, you must learn to observe people's behavior without allowing it to rewrite your identity. Emotional control also requires you to stop chasing validation from people who are not qualified to define you. Many people remain emotionally unstable because their sense of self depends on outside approval. If someone praises them, they feel valuable. If someone ignores them, they feel worthless. If someone chooses them, they feel complete. If someone leaves them, they feel broken. This is a dangerous way to live because it means your emotional state is always in someone else's hands. You must grow into the kind of person whose worth does not rise and fall with another person's attention. Compliments may feel good, but they cannot become your foundation. Rejection may hurt, but it cannot become your identity. As you get older, You must develop the strength to sit with uncomfortable emotions without escaping into destructive habits. Some people escape sadness through overeating, overspending, scrolling, gossiping, sleeping too much, working too much, chasing attention, or returning to unhealthy relationships. They do not process the emotion, they run from it. But whatever you refuse to face will eventually find another way to speak. Emotional control begins when you stop running from your inner world and start listening with honesty. Why am I angry? What did this trigger inside me? What am I afraid of losing? Why does this person's opinion affect me so deeply? What old wound is being touched here? These questions turn emotion into awareness, and awareness is the beginning of power. There is a deep difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is fast, emotional, and often driven by ego. Responding is slower, wiser, and guided by values. Reacting says, I must prove myself right now. Responding says, I must protect my peace and choose carefully. Reacting wants immediate satisfaction. Responding considers long-term consequences. Reacting often creates more damage. Responding often creates clarity. The more mature you become, the more your life should be guided by response rather than reaction. This does not happen automatically with age. It happens through practice, humility, self-awareness, and the willingness to admit when your emotions have been leading you into places wisdom never approved. You must also improve the way you handle disappointment. Life will not always move according to your plans. People will not always behave according to your expectations. Effort will not always bring immediate results. Love will not always be returned. Good intentions will not always be understood. If every disappointment destroys your peace, then life will always have power over you. A wiser person learns to be disappointed without becoming defeated. They learn to accept what happened, extract the lesson, adjust their direction, and keep moving. Disappointment is not the end of your story unless you allow it to become your permanent home. Another part of emotional control is learning when to be silent. Silence is not always weakness. Sometimes silence is emotional discipline. Sometimes silence is the decision not to speak from a wounded place. Sometimes silence is the refusal to argue with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Sometimes silence is the understanding that your peace is more valuable than winning a debate. As you get older, you should become less interested in proving every point and more interested in protecting your inner world. There are conversations that will not bring clarity, only exhaustion. There are arguments that will not create understanding, only more noise. A mature person knows when words are useful and when silence is wiser. However, emotional control should never become emotional suppression. Suppression means burying what you feel and pretending it does not exist. Control means acknowledging what you feel and choosing how to handle it wisely. If you keep burying emotions, they will not disappear. They will leak out through irritability, bitterness, tiredness, resentment, anxiety, or sudden explosions. You must give your emotions a healthy place to go. Write them, pray through them, walk with them, reflect on them, speak to someone trustworthy, turn them into wisdom. Let them teach you without allowing them to rule you. A controlled person is not someone who hides everything. A controlled person is someone who handles what is inside with responsibility. As you get older, your emotional control also affects your relationships. People feel safer around someone who is emotionally stable. They trust someone who does not explode over small things. They respect someone who can disagree without becoming cruel. They feel peace around someone who is not constantly ruled by mood swings, suspicion, jealousy, anger, or insecurity. If you want stronger relationships, you must become emotionally safer. This does not mean you must be perfect. It means people should not have to fear which version of you they will meet today. Maturity brings steadiness, and steadiness is one of the most underrated forms of love. Your emotional control also affects your self-respect. Every time you react in a way that goes against your values, a part of you knows it. You may justify it in the moment, but later, when the emotion fades, you feel the weight of your own behavior. You remember what you said. You remember how you acted. You remember how easily you were controlled. But every time you pause, choose wisely, and respond with dignity, your self-respect grows. You prove to yourself that you are no longer a slave to every feeling. You prove that the stronger version of you is becoming real. That private victory matters, even if nobody else notices it. There will be times when emotional control feels unfair. You may think, why should I remain calm when they disrespected me? Why should I stay mature when they acted carelessly? Why should I control myself when they caused the pain? But emotional control is not something you practice for their benefit. You practice it for your own freedom. If their behavior can turn you into someone you do not respect, then they have taken more from you than they deserve. Do not allow another person's weakness to pull you into weakness. Do not allow someone else's lack of character to make you abandon your own. Your response is your responsibility, even when their behavior was wrong. As you grow older, your peace must become more important than your pride. Pride wants the final word. Peace does not always need it. Pride wants to prove who was right. Peace wants to remain whole. Pride wants to be seen as strong. Peace knows strength does not always need an audience. Pride wants revenge. Peace wants freedom. The older you get, the more you must choose peace over the emotional hunger to win every moment. Some victories are not worth the damage they create inside you. Sometimes the greatest victory is walking away without losing yourself. You must also learn to forgive yourself for the times your emotions controlled you in the past. Maybe you reacted badly, maybe you begged, maybe you chased, maybe you said things from pain, maybe you stayed too long because your heart was afraid, maybe you made decisions from fear, anger, or loneliness. Regret can teach you, but it should not imprison you. The purpose of this chapter is not to make you hate who you were, it is to help you outgrow that version. The fact that you can see it now means you are already changing. Awareness is proof that the wiser part of you is waking up. A strong emotional life is built through daily practice. It begins in small moments, when something annoys you and you choose patience, when someone misunderstands you and you choose clarity over defense, when you feel lonely and choose self-respect over old attachment, when you feel angry and choose to breathe before speaking, when fear appears and you take one step anyway. These small moments train your inner world. Just as your body grows stronger through repeated effort, your emotional control grows stronger through repeated pauses, repeated choices, repeated acts of wisdom in moments where the old you would have reacted without thinking. One day, if you practice this seriously, you will notice that the same things that once disturbed you no longer control you. The same people who used to trigger you no longer own your mood. The same memories that used to pull you backward no longer decide your direction. The same fears that used to stop you no longer have the final voice. This is not because life became easier, it is because you became stronger inside. Emotional control gives you a kind of freedom that no one can hand to you. It allows you to move through life without being thrown around by every storm. It allows you to remain yourself even when the world becomes difficult. As this chapter closes, remember this truth with seriousness. If you do not master your emotions will master your life. They will choose your words, your relationships, your habits, your decisions, your regrets, and your future. But if you learn to feel deeply while choosing wisely, you become powerful in a way that age alone can never create. Getting older will give you more experiences, but emotional control will turn those experiences into wisdom. Getting older will bring more pressure, but emotional control will help you stand steady under it. Getting older will bring more loss, change, disappointment, and responsibility, but emotional control will keep you from becoming bitter, broken, or ruled by pain. The goal is not to feel less. The goal is to become strong enough that your feelings no longer lead you away from the life you are trying to build. Chapter 4. Improve your standards before life keeps giving you what you keep accepting. As you get older, one of the most important things you must improve is your standards, because your standards quietly decide the quality of your relationships, your work, your habits, your environment, your peace, and the direction of your life. Many people think life keeps giving them the same pain by accident, but often life is only repeating what they keep accepting. If you accept disrespect, disrespect finds a place to stay. If you accept laziness, weakness becomes normal. If you accept confusion, peace becomes rare. If you accept people who only appear when they need you, your heart becomes a waiting room for those who never truly value your presence. This is why standards are not a luxury. Standards are protection. Standards are the invisible gate between the life you say you want and the life you keep allowing. When you are younger, you may accept many things because you are still learning who you are. You may accept people who drain you because you fear being alone. You may accept opportunities that do not respect your value because you fear missing out. You may accept poor habits because consequences still feel far away. You may accept half love, fake friendship, empty promises, and temporary attention because at that stage of life, being wanted can feel more important than being respected. But as you get older, you begin to understand that not everything available is valuable, not everyone who wants access deserves closeness, and not every open door leads to growth. Some doors only lead you back to versions of yourself you were supposed to outgrow. Your standards reveal how deeply you respect yourself. This is a difficult truth, but it is necessary. People can only continue certain patterns in your life when those patterns keep finding permission. They may test your boundaries, but your response teaches them whether those boundaries are real. They may disrespect your time, but your reaction teaches them whether your time has value. They may give you inconsistency, but your decision teaches them whether inconsistency is enough to keep access to you. A standard is not something you announce with powerful words and then abandon when you feel lonely. A standard is something you live even when your emotions are begging you to lower it for temporary comfort. Many people confuse having standards with being arrogant, difficult, proud, or impossible to please. But true standards are not about thinking you are better than everyone else. They are about refusing to live below the level of respect, peace, and responsibility your life requires. A person with standards does not demand perfection from others. They demand honesty, consistency, maturity, effort, and basic respect. They understand that mistakes can happen, but repeated patterns cannot be ignored. They understand that love can be patient, but it should not become blind. They understand that kindness can forgive, but it should not keep reopening the door to the same damage. Standards do not make you cold. Standards keep your warmth from being wasted in places that only know how to consume it. As you get older, your standards must become stronger than your loneliness. This is where many people fail. They know what hurts them. They know who drains them. They know which habits are destroying them. They know which environments keep them weak. They know which people bring more confusion than peace. But the moment loneliness appears, the standard collapses. They return to what they outgrew because silence feels too heavy. They answer messages they should ignore because attention feels better than emptiness. They accept less than they deserve because the fear of having nothing feels stronger than the pain of having something unhealthy. But listen carefully. Loneliness may be uncomfortable, but lowering your standards to escape loneliness can become a lifelong prison. There is a difference between being alone and being available to the wrong things. Being alone can teach you strength, self-awareness, focus, peace, and emotional independence. Being available to the wrong things teaches you anxiety, self-doubt, emotional hunger, and the habit of betraying yourself for connection. Many people are not afraid of being alone because being alone is truly destroying them. They are afraid of being alone because they have never learned how to sit with themselves without needing someone else to confirm their worth. As you get older, you must stop using other people as proof that you matter. Your standards become powerful when you no longer need constant attention to feel valuable. Your standards must also improve in the way you allow people to treat you. Some people will speak to you with disrespect and then call you sensitive when you respond. Some will repeatedly hurt you and then call you unforgiving when you begin protecting yourself. Some will give the minimum and expect maximum loyalty. Some will offer confusion and demand understanding. Some will treat your presence like an option, but expect you to treat their absence like a tragedy. If you have low standards, you will spend your life trying to make sense of people who are simply showing you they are not safe for your peace. If you have higher standards, you will stop negotiating with behavior that already gave you the answer. One of the strongest signs of maturity is when you stop being impressed by words that are not supported by actions. When you are younger, words can easily move you. A promise can make you stay. An apology can make you forget. A compliment can make you ignore red flags. A beautiful explanation can make you give another chance to someone who has already shown you their pattern. But as you get older, you must learn that words are easy when someone wants access, comfort, forgiveness, or control. Actions are where truth lives. Consistency is where character speaks. Time is where real change proves itself. If someone says they value you but continues treating you like you are replaceable, believe the treatment. If someone says they changed but returns with the same habits, believe the pattern. If someone says they care but only appears when it benefits them, believe the absence behind their words. Your standards must improve in your daily habits as well, because a person cannot build a powerful life while accepting weak routines. If you accept wasting mornings, wasting nights, eating carelessly, sleeping poorly, scrolling endlessly, delaying important work, and living without structure, your life will eventually reflect those standards. Many people want strong results while living with weak daily choices. They want confidence without keeping promises. They want success without focus. They want respect without self-control. They want peace without removing the things that create chaos. But life does not reward what you wish for. Life responds to what you repeatedly accept as normal. This is why you must raise the standard for how you treat yourself. Do not only ask why other people disrespect you, ask where you have been disrespecting yourself. Every time you keep a habit that destroys your body, you are lowering a standard. Every time you speak to yourself like you are worthless, you are lowering a standard. Every time you delay your growth for temporary pleasure, you are lowering a standard. Every time you choose distraction over purpose, you are lowering a standard. Every time you return to a place that broke your peace, you are lowering a standard. Self-respect is not only about what you refuse from others, it is also about what you refuse from yourself. As you get older, you must also improve your standards for your environment. The places you stay in shape the person you become. If your environment is full of noise, negativity, laziness, gossip, emotional chaos, and people who have no desire to improve, then your mind will constantly fight to remain focused and peaceful. You may be strong, but if you keep placing yourself in environments that reward weakness, eventually those environments will influence your rhythm. This does not mean you must judge people or think you are superior. It means you must understand that your future is too important to be constantly surrounded by energy that pulls you away from growth. Sometimes changing your life begins by changing what you allow around you every day. Your standards must become clear in your friendships. A friendship should not feel like emotional labor all the time. It should not be one person always listening, always checking in, always forgiving, always adjusting, always showing up, while the other only appears when convenient. As you get older, you should not need a crowd. You need people who bring peace, honesty, wisdom, loyalty, accountability, and genuine support. A smaller circle with real people is far better than a large circle filled with shallow access. Many people lose themselves trying to stay connected to everyone, but mature people understand that not every connection deserves maintenance. Some relationships expire because your standards have finally matured. You must raise your standards in love as well. Love should not be a place where your dignity disappears. Love should not make you feel like you are always auditioning for care. Love should not leave you confused about where you stand. Love should not require you to beg for effort, chase basic respect, or shrink your needs so someone else can remain comfortable. When you are younger, intensity can look like love. Drama can feel like passion. Inconsistency can feel exciting, but as you get older, peace becomes more attractive than chaos. Calm becomes more valuable than emotional highs and lows. Consistency becomes more beautiful than mystery. You begin to understand that love is not proven by how much pain you survive. Love is proven by how safe your heart feels in someone's presence. A low standard will make you romanticize people who only give you fragments. You will celebrate a small reply after days of silence. You will treat basic kindness like a miracle because you have become used to emotional starvation. You will call someone special because they gave you a little attention after making you feel invisible. This is what happens when your standard has been lowered by repeated disappointment. You begin accepting crumbs and calling them a meal, but the older, wiser, stronger version of you must refuse this. You must stop clapping for the bare minimum. You must stop confusing temporary attention with genuine love. You must stop letting people return with small gestures after large disrespect. Your standards must also become stronger in the way you handle your dreams. A person with low standards for their future keeps making excuses for why they are not becoming who they promised themselves they would become. They blame timing, mood, people, past pain, lack of support, fear, and circumstances, while secretly knowing there are actions they could take but keep delaying. A person with higher standards does not wait for a perfect life before becoming serious. They begin with what they have. They improve where they can. They take responsibility for what is theirs. They stop treating their future like something that will magically arrive and start treating it like something that must be built with discipline, focus, and sacrifice. Raising your standards will often cost you comfort. This is why many people avoid it. It may cost you certain relationships. It may cost you old habits. It may cost you easy entertainment. It may cost you the identity of being available to everyone. It may cost you the approval of people who benefited from your low standards. But every meaningful improvement has a cost. The question is not whether raising your standards will cost you something. The question is whether staying the same is already costing you more. How much peace have you lost by accepting what you knew was wrong? How much time have you lost by tolerating what never helped you grow? How much confidence have you lost by giving access to people who made you question your worth? How many years will you keep paying for comfort with regret? There will be people who do not like your standards when they become stronger. They may call you difficult because you no longer accept disrespect quietly. They may call you changed because you no longer respond to manipulation. They may call you proud because you no longer chase their approval. They may call you cold because your warmth is no longer freely available to people who keep hurting you. Let them speak. Their reaction does not automatically mean your standard is wrong. Often, it means the old access has ended. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries will rarely celebrate your self-respect at first. But do not use standards as a weapon. Standards should make you wiser, not bitter. They should help you choose better, not hate everyone. They should create peace, not pride. A mature person with standards does not walk around condemning people. They simply decide what belongs close and what must remain distant. They do not need to announce every boundary with anger. Their life quietly reflects what they accept and what they do not. They understand that not everyone is bad, but not everyone is for them. They understand that every person deserves basic kindness, but not every person deserves intimate access. This balance is important because standards without humility can become arrogance, but standards with wisdom become protection. As you get older, you must stop being afraid of losing what was never truly good for you. Many people keep low standards because they fear that if they raise them, they will lose people, opportunities, comfort, or familiarity, but sometimes losing is the beginning of freedom. When you raise your standards, the wrong things begin to fall away. The people who only liked your weakness become uncomfortable. The habits that kept you distracted become harder to justify. The places that kept you small no longer feel like home. At first, this can feel lonely, but eventually you realize that what left was making room for what matches the person you are becoming. Your standards should not be based on ego. They should be based on values. Ask yourself what kind of life you truly want to live. Do you value peace? Then stop choosing chaos. Do you value growth? Then stop feeding habits that keep you stuck. Do you value respect? Then stop entertaining people who repeatedly disrespect your boundaries. Do you value health? Then stop treating your body like it can survive forever without care. Do you value purpose? Then stop wasting your best energy on distractions that leave you empty. Your values mean nothing if your standards do not protect them. A value without a standard is only a wish. One of the most painful but powerful truths is that life will often give you exactly what you are willing to settle for. If you settle for emotional confusion, confusion will continue. If you settle for unfinished goals will remain. If you settle for weak effort, weak results will follow. If you settle for people who do not respect your peace will stay fragile. This is not because life is cruel. It is because life often waits for you to decide what is no longer acceptable. The moment you raise your standard, you change the kind of life that can remain around you. You must also raise your standard for honesty with yourself. Many people lie to themselves more than anyone else lies to them. They say they are fine when they are not. They say they will change when they have no plan. They say someone loves them when the pattern shows neglect. They say they are waiting for the right time when they are actually avoiding fear. They say they are tired when they are really undisciplined. They say they are unlucky when they are actually inconsistent. The older you get, the more dangerous self-deception becomes, because every lie you tell yourself delays the life that truth could help you build. A high standard for honesty means you would rather face discomfort today than live with regret tomorrow. Raising your standards does not mean your life becomes perfect immediately. In fact, it may become more challenging at first. You may have to say no more often. You may have to disappoint people. You may have to walk alone for a season. You may have to rebuild routines from the ground up. You may have to face the emptiness that appears when distractions are removed. You may have to work harder than before because your old habits are still trying to pull you back. But difficulty is not always a sign that you are failing. Sometimes difficulty is proof that you are finally growing beyond the level that used to control you. The beautiful thing about standards is that once they become part of your identity, your decisions become easier. You do not have to debate every situation for weeks. You do not have to beg yourself to leave what is clearly harmful. You do not have to keep explaining why disrespect is unacceptable. You do not have to keep wondering whether a weak habit belongs in your future. Your standard answers before your fear can negotiate. Your standard becomes a compass. It tells you what aligns with the person you are becoming and what belongs to the version of you that you are leaving behind. A person with strong standards becomes calmer over time because their life is no longer crowded with what constantly violates their peace. They may still face problems, but they stop creating unnecessary ones by accepting the wrong people, wrong habits, wrong environments, and wrong priorities. Their energy becomes cleaner, their mind becomes clearer, their relationships become more honest, their work becomes more focused, their future becomes more intentional. This is not magic. This is what happens when a person stops living at the mercy of whatever appears and starts choosing according to what truly matters. As this chapter closes, remember this truth deeply. Your standards are the instructions you give life about how you are willing to be treated, how seriously you are willing to grow, and what kind of future you are prepared to build. If your standards are weak, life will keep filling your days with weak patterns. If your standards are strong, life may test you, but it will also begin removing what no longer belongs. Do not be afraid to raise the standard. Be afraid of growing older while still accepting what younger you should have outgrown. Be afraid of waking up years from now surrounded by the consequences of everything you were too afraid to refuse. Because getting older without higher standards creates regret. But getting older with higher standards creates dignity, peace, and a life that finally reflects the value you should have recognized in yourself all along. Chapter 5. Improve your relationship with yourself before you keep searching for yourself in other people. As you get older, one of the deepest things you must improve is your relationship with yourself. because every place you go, every decision you make, every relationship you enter, every dream you chase, and every season you survive will still have one person present through it all, and that person is you. You can change your city, change your circle, change your work, change your appearance, change your routine, and change the people around you, but if the relationship you have with yourself remains broken, you will carry the same emptiness into every new chapter. Many people spend their lives trying to be liked, chosen, accepted, praised, loved, respected, and understood by others, while completely ignoring the fact that they do not even know how to sit peacefully with themselves. They want the world to treat them with care, but inside their own mind, they speak to themselves with cruelty, doubt, impatience, shame, and constant criticism. This is why improving your relationship with yourself is not a small part of growth. It is the center of everything. When you are younger, it is easy to build your identity around other people's opinions. You may measure your worth by who notices you, who messages you, who praises you, who chooses you, who invites you, who loves you, who follows you, who approves of you, and who gives you attention. But as you get older, this becomes a dangerous way to live, because people are unstable, opinions change, attention disappears, approval comes and goes, and if your sense of self depends on outside validation, then your peace will always be controlled by something outside of you. One day someone praises you and you feel powerful. The next day someone ignores you and you feel worthless. One day you feel loved because someone chooses you. The next day you feel broken because someone leaves. This is not freedom. This is emotional slavery disguised as connection. A strong relationship with yourself begins when you stop outsourcing your worth. You stop waiting for people to make you feel valuable before you believe you are valuable. You stop waiting for someone to choose you before you choose yourself. You stop needing applause before you respect your own effort. You stop needing constant reassurance before you trust your direction. This does not mean you become someone who needs no one, loves no one, or feels nothing when people hurt you. It means you stop making other people the owners of your inner identity. You can appreciate love without becoming dependent on it. You can enjoy praise without needing it to survive. You can accept rejection without allowing it to rewrite the truth about who you are. Many people do not realize how badly they treat themselves because their self-abandonment has become normal. They break promises to themselves and then wonder why they lack confidence. They ignore their own needs and then wonder why they feel empty. They keep returning to people who disrespect them and then wonder why their self-worth feels weak. They say yes when their soul wants to say no, then wonder why resentment grows inside them. They allow themselves to live in constant distraction, emotional chaos, and poor habits, then wonder why they do not feel proud of who they are becoming. You cannot build a healthy relationship with yourself while repeatedly proving to your own heart that your peace, your needs, your goals, and your boundaries do not matter. Self-respect is not built by saying beautiful things to yourself once in a while. Self-respect is built through repeated evidence that you are on your own side. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-trust. Every time you protect your peace, you build self-respect. Every time you walk away from what lowers you, you build self-worth. Every time you choose discipline over temporary comfort, you build self-confidence. Every time you refuse to beg for a place in someone's life, you teach your heart that it does not need to crawl to be loved. The relationship you have with yourself improves when your actions begin proving that you are no longer willing to abandon yourself for acceptance. As you get older, you must stop being your own enemy in private. There are people who smile in public but speak to themselves like they are worthless when no one is listening. They remember every mistake. They insult themselves for every failure. They compare themselves to everyone who seems ahead. They replay embarrassing moments from years ago. They carry shame like a second skin. They call themselves lazy, weak, ugly, broken, behind, unlovable, or not enough. And then they wonder why confidence does not grow inside them. How can confidence grow in a mind that keeps attacking its own home? How can peace live in a heart that is constantly being judged by its own owner? You must become careful with the words you use against yourself, because your inner voice slowly becomes the atmosphere you live in every day. This does not mean you should lie to yourself, ignore your flaws, or pretend you are perfect. A healthy relationship with yourself includes honesty, but there is a difference between honest correction and cruel self-destruction. Honest correction says, "I made a mistake and I must learn from it." Cruel self-destruction says, "I am a mistake and I will never change." Honest correction creates growth. Cruel self-destruction creates shame. Honest correction respects your humanity. Cruel self-destruction denies it. As you get older, you must learn how to hold yourself accountable without hating yourself, because accountability with compassion creates transformation, but accountability without compassion creates inner punishment that never ends. One of the strongest signs of self-growth is when you stop needing to punish yourself for not becoming successful, healed, disciplined, or strong sooner. Many people finally become aware of their mistakes and then use that awareness to attack themselves. They say, "I wasted too much time. I trusted the wrong people. I stayed too long. I delayed too much. I should have known better." Maybe some of that is true, but shame will not return your lost years. Shame will not rebuild your discipline. Shame will not heal your heart. Shame will not create the future you deserve. The old version of you made decisions with the understanding, pain, fear, and maturity it had at the time. Now that you know better, your responsibility is not to hate that version. Your responsibility is to become better because of it. Your relationship with yourself also improves when you stop comparing your timeline to everyone else's. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to become a stranger to your own life. You look at someone else's success, marriage, money, body, confidence, lifestyle, popularity, or progress, and suddenly your own journey feels late, small, or worthless. But you are not seeing their whole life. You are seeing the part that is visible. You do not see the hidden stress, private sacrifices, emotional battles, family problems, silent disappointments, or inner emptiness they may be carrying. You cannot compare your full reality to someone else's selected display and expect your heart to feel peaceful. As you get older, you must stop using someone else's chapter as proof that your story has failed. There is great power in learning to belong to yourself. Many people fear being alone because they have never built a safe inner world. Silence scares them because it removes the noise that distracts them from their own emptiness. They constantly seek company, entertainment, messages, relationships, drama, and stimulation because being alone with their thoughts feels uncomfortable. But a person who has a good relationship with themselves does not use people as escape. They can enjoy connection without needing it to hide from loneliness. They can be alone without feeling abandoned. They can sit in silence without feeling worthless. They can build a life from within rather than constantly begging the outside world to make them feel complete. As you get older, you must become someone you can trust. This is extremely important. You cannot feel secure inside yourself if you constantly betray your own word. If you tell yourself you will change and then do nothing, your mind remembers. If you tell yourself you will stop returning to what hurts you and then go back, your heart remembers. If you tell yourself you will focus, grow, save, heal, exercise, learn, or improve, and then keep delaying, your confidence remembers. Confidence is not only broken by what others do to you, it is also broken by the repeated experience of watching yourself fail to honor your own promises. If you want to trust yourself again, begin with small promises and keep them until your inner world believes you. You must also improve the way you forgive yourself. Many people can forgive others more easily than they forgive themselves. They give grace to people who hurt them, but they show no mercy to their own past. They replay old decisions like a courtroom, constantly accusing themselves for what they did not know, what they tolerated, what they missed, what they allowed, and what they failed to become. But life cannot move forward when your mind keeps dragging you back to stand trial for who you used to be. Forgiving yourself does not mean you deny responsibility. It means you stop using the past as a weapon against your future. It means you take the lesson, accept the truth, and decide that your next chapter deserves your energy more than your old regret. A healthy relationship with yourself requires boundaries not only with others, but also with your own lower habits. Sometimes the person you must learn to say no to is not someone outside you. Sometimes it is the undisciplined version of you that wants comfort over growth. Sometimes it is the fearful version of you that wants to quit before trying. Sometimes it is the emotional version of you that wants to return to old pain. Sometimes it is the distracted version of you that wants to waste another day. Sometimes it is the insecure version of you that wants to compare instead of build. Self-love is not always gentle. Sometimes self-love says no to the part of you that is trying to sabotage your future. This is why your relationship with yourself must include both kindness and leadership. Kindness comforts you when you are tired, wounded, or discouraged. Leadership guides you when you are tempted, lazy, emotional, or afraid. If you only give yourself kindness without leadership, you may become comfortable in weakness. If you only give yourself leadership without kindness, you may become harsh and exhausted. You need both. You need the softness that reminds you that you are human and the strength that reminds you that you are responsible. The older, wiser, stronger version of you is not created by self-hatred, and it is not created by endless excuses. It is created when compassion and discipline begin working together. As you get older, you must stop begging people to become the home you refuse to build inside yourself. No relationship can permanently rescue a person who has abandoned themselves. Someone can love you deeply and still not be able to fill the emptiness created by your own self-rejection. Someone can praise you and still not convince you of your worth if your inner voice keeps denying it. Someone can stay by your side and still not make you feel secure if you do not know how to stand with yourself. This is why healing your relationship with yourself is not optional. Without it, you may receive love and still feel afraid, success and still feel empty, attention and still feel unseen, companionship and still feel alone. Many people chase relationships when what they truly need is self-reconnection. They think another person will make them feel complete, but they are really searching for parts of themselves they lost through pain, neglect, fear, or years of living for others. They want someone to make them feel alive again, but they have stopped listening to their own dreams. They want someone to make them feel beautiful, but they have spent years criticizing their reflection. They want someone to make them feel important, but they have not made their own purpose important. A healthy relationship can add beauty to your life, but it should not become the only proof that your life has value. Your relationship with yourself also shapes what you accept from others. A person who does not respect themselves will often accept less than respect from people. A person who does not love themselves will often chase love from those who give it in painful fragments. A person who does not believe they are worthy will often stay in places that confirm their insecurity. This is why raising your self-worth changes your entire life. When you begin treating yourself with respect, disrespect becomes harder to tolerate. When you begin enjoying your own peace, chaos becomes less attractive. When you begin trusting yourself, manipulation becomes less powerful. When you begin knowing your worth, inconsistent people no longer feel like prizes. As you get older, you must improve how you spend time alone, because your private life is where your true relationship with yourself is revealed. What do you do when no one is watching? Do you feed your mind or poison it? Do you keep promises or break them? Do you grow or escape? Do you rest or numb yourself? Do you reflect or avoid? Do you speak kindly to yourself or attack yourself? The person you are in private eventually becomes the life you experience in public. Many people want public confidence, but they live with private self-betrayal. They want visible strength, but their hidden habits are weak. They want respect from others, but they do not respect the way they handle their own time, body, mind, and future. There is no stronger foundation than becoming at peace with who you are while still being committed to who you can become. This balance matters. Some people accept themselves in a way that becomes laziness. They say, "This is just who I am," when really they are refusing to grow. Others chase improvement in a way that becomes self-hatred. They say, "I will only be worthy when I become better," and they never allow themselves to feel enough. The wiser path is different. You accept that you are worthy now, but you also accept that you are responsible for growth. You do not improve because you hate yourself. You improve because you respect yourself enough to stop living below your potential. The older you get, the more important it becomes to stop abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable. Many people lose their identity because they are always adjusting to please someone else. They hide their truth, silence their needs, lower their standards, ignore their dreams, and change their personality depending on who is around. At first, this may feel like keeping peace, but eventually it becomes self-erasure. You cannot live your entire life as a version of yourself designed to avoid disappointing people. At some point you must ask, what about the disappointment I keep causing myself? You matter too. Your peace matters too. Your future matters too. Your voice matters too. Improving your relationship with yourself means learning to listen inwardly. Not every answer will come from outside advice. Sometimes your soul has already been telling you the truth, but you kept ignoring it because the truth required courage. You knew which habit was weakening you. You knew which person was draining you. You knew which dream kept calling you. You knew which environment was making you smaller. You knew which boundary needed to be set. You knew which excuse was no longer acceptable. A strong relationship with yourself requires respecting your own inner wisdom instead of constantly running from it. You must also stop defining yourself by your worst seasons. A painful chapter is not your entire identity. A mistake is not your name. A failure is not your final form. A rejection is not proof that you are unworthy. A delay is not proof that your life is over. Many people carry labels from old pain and continue living as if those labels are permanent. They call themselves broken because they were hurt. They call themselves behind because they needed time. They call themselves weak because they struggled. But surviving a hard season does not make you weak. It means something in you kept going when life was heavy. Honor that. Do not let pain name you forever. As you get older, you must become less interested in being impressive and more interested in being real. Many people exhaust themselves trying to create an image that wins approval. They want to appear successful, happy, attractive, confident, busy, desired, and strong, even if their inner life is falling apart. But image is fragile. Reality is stronger. A good relationship with yourself means you no longer need to perform a life that is not true. You can be honest about where you are while still working toward where you want to be. You can admit you are learning without feeling ashamed. You can be a work in progress without pretending to be finished. There is a quiet dignity in choosing yourself without needing to announce it loudly. Choosing yourself means you stop negotiating with what destroys your peace. Choosing yourself means you give your future the same loyalty you once gave to people who did not value it. Choosing yourself means you treat your body, mind, heart, time, and purpose like they are precious. Choosing yourself means you no longer make your worth dependent on who stays, who leaves, who notices, or who approves. It means you finally become the person you were waiting for someone else to be. Your relationship with yourself will decide how you age. If you age while hating yourself, you will become bitter. If you age while neglecting yourself, you will become exhausted. If you age while betraying yourself, you will become regretful. But if you age while respecting yourself, forgiving yourself, leading yourself, and improving yourself, you will become powerful in a way that younger you may not have understood. You will carry peace differently. You will make decisions differently. You will stop chasing what weakens you. You will stop accepting what lowers you. You will stop needing the world to constantly confirm what you have finally built inside. As this chapter closes, remember this truth with full attention. The relationship you have with yourself is the longest relationship of your life. And if that relationship is unhealthy, every other part of your life will feel heavier than it should. You cannot keep searching for yourself in people, applause, attention, achievements, relationships, and temporary approval. You must return to yourself. You must become safe for yourself. You must become honest with yourself. You must become loyal to yourself. You must become someone your future can trust. Because getting older without self-respect creates emptiness, but getting older with a strong relationship with yourself creates peace, confidence, dignity, and a life that no longer depends on being chosen by everyone else before you finally choose yourself. Chapter 6. Improve your focus before distraction steals the life you were meant to build. As you get older, one of the most serious things you must improve is your focus, because focus is the bridge between the life you imagine and the life you actually create. Many people have dreams, plans, ideas, desires, and visions of who they want to become, but very few have the focus required to stay with one direction long enough to turn that vision into reality. They begin with excitement, but they disappear when effort becomes boring. They start with energy, but they lose themselves when distractions become louder. They say they want a better life, but their attention is scattered across 100 small things that have nothing to do with their future. Then years pass, and they wonder why they are still standing close to where they began. The painful truth is that a distracted life can feel busy every day and still remain empty of real progress. Focus matters more as you get older because time becomes more valuable, responsibilities become heavier, energy becomes more limited, and life becomes less forgiving of wasted attention. When you are younger, you may believe there will always be another year, another chance, another season, another opportunity, another moment to become serious. But as the years move forward, you begin to realize that every distracted day has a cost. The cost may not appear immediately, but it collects quietly. The hour you wasted becomes the week you lost. The week you lost becomes the month you cannot recover. The month you wasted becomes the year you now regret. Life does not always punish distraction loudly. Sometimes it punishes you silently by allowing your potential to remain unused until regret becomes louder than your excuses. The modern world is designed to steal your focus. It does not knock on the door and ask politely for your attention. It enters through your phone, your screen, your conversations, your fears, your comparisons, your notifications, your entertainment, your emotional attachments, and your endless need to know what everyone else is doing. Every day, something is trying to pull your mind away from the life you say you want. One message can break your concentration, one useless video can become 2 hours, one emotional conversation can ruin your entire day, one comparison can weaken your confidence, one memory can drag your mind into the past, one fear can freeze your movement toward the future. If you do not learn to guard your focus, the world will spend it for you. Many people underestimate distraction because distraction often feels harmless in the moment. It feels like rest. It feels like entertainment. It feels like a small escape. It feels like you are only taking a break. But distraction becomes dangerous when it becomes your normal way of living. A short break becomes a habit. A habit becomes a lifestyle. A lifestyle becomes an identity. Slowly, you become a person who cannot stay with anything long enough to become excellent. You cannot read deeply, work deeply, think deeply, build deeply, heal deeply, or love deeply because your mind has been trained to jump from one thing to another. The result is a life filled with shallow activity and very little meaningful achievement. As you get older, you must understand that whatever owns your attention will eventually influence your life. If your attention belongs to fear, your life becomes smaller. If your attention belongs to comparison, your peace becomes weaker. If your attention belongs to people who drain you, your energy becomes empty. If your attention belongs to entertainment, your purpose becomes delayed. If your attention belongs to old pain, your future becomes chained to the past. But if your attention belongs to discipline, growth, health, learning, purpose, and self-respect, your life begins to rise. Focus is not only about productivity. Focus is about ownership. It is deciding who and what is allowed to shape the direction of your mind. A distracted person often believes they have no time, but many times they simply have no control over their attention. They say they are busy, but they are busy reacting, Busy scrolling, busy replying, busy checking, busy worrying, busy thinking about people who are not thinking about them, busy consuming content that leaves no wisdom behind, busy moving from one emotional trigger to another, busy with everything except the thing that would actually change their life. This is why focus requires honesty. You must stop saying you do not have time when the truth is that your time is being spent on things you are afraid to admit are stealing your future. Focus begins when you decide what matters most. A person without priorities becomes available to every distraction. If you do not know what you are building, anything can interrupt you. If you do not know what deserves your energy, everything will demand it. If you do not know where you are going, every path will look interesting for a while. This is why many people remain stuck. They are not lazy in every area. They are simply unclear. Their attention has no master plan. Their days are shaped by mood instead of mission. Their decisions are shaped by pressure instead of purpose. Their future is left in the hands of whatever feels urgent in the moment. As you get older, you must become clear about the kind of person you are trying to become, because clarity protects focus. Ask yourself seriously, what am I building? What must improve in my life? What habit is holding me back? What skill must I develop? What relationship must I stop feeding? What distraction must I remove? What goal deserves my best energy? What kind of future will I regret not working toward? These questions may feel uncomfortable, but they are powerful because they force your attention to return to what matters. A focused life is not created by accident. It is created by repeated decisions that tell distractions, "You are not more important than my future." There is a deep relationship between focus and self-respect. When you keep giving your attention to things that weaken you, you are quietly telling your future that it can wait. Every time you waste your best hours on shallow distractions, you delay the version of yourself that is trying to rise. Every time you choose temporary pleasure over meaningful progress, you teach your mind that comfort has more authority than your purpose. Every time you allow another person's drama to control your day, you give away ownership of your life. Focus is self-respect in action because it says, my time matters, my growth matters, my future matters, my mind is not available for everything. One of the greatest enemies of focus is emotional distraction. Many people think distraction only means phones, television, or entertainment, but emotional distraction can be even more dangerous. A person can sit in silence and still be completely distracted by anger, heartbreak, jealousy, regret, fear, resentment, or attachment. They may look calm from the outside, but inside they are replaying old conversations, imagining future problems, worrying about what people think, or building arguments with people who are not even present. This kind of distraction is exhausting because it consumes the mind without producing progress. You may spend an entire day thinking and still end the day with nothing useful built. As you get older, you must stop allowing people who are not building your future to occupy the best room in your mind. Some people live rent-free inside your thoughts because you keep giving them attention they have not earned. You keep wondering what they meant, why they changed, whether they care, whether they regret, whether they noticed, whether they will return, whether they understand what they did, whether they are thinking of you. But while your mind is busy studying them, your life is waiting for you to return to yourself. Focus means calling your attention back from people, memories, and situations that have already taken enough from you. You cannot build a strong life while constantly mentally visiting places that broke your peace. Another enemy of focus is the addiction to quick pleasure. The mind that becomes used to instant stimulation struggles to stay with slow progress. Building a meaningful life is often slow. Healing is slow. Learning is slow. Discipline is slow. Saving money is slow. Improving your body is slow. Becoming emotionally mature is slow. Creating something valuable is slow, but distractions are fast. Entertainment is fast. Scrolling is fast. Gossip is fast. Temporary attention is fast. This is why many people choose distraction even when they know it is harming them. Distraction gives a quick reward without asking for growth, but growth asks for patience before it gives results. You must train yourself to respect slow progress. The older you get, the more dangerous it becomes to chase only what feels exciting. Some of the most important things in life do not feel exciting every day. Working on yourself will not always feel exciting. Saving money will not always feel exciting. Learning a skill will not always feel exciting. Exercising will not always feel exciting. Reading, planning, healing, building, practicing, and staying consistent will often feel ordinary, but ordinary actions repeated with focus become extraordinary over time. Most people fail because they abandon the ordinary too soon. They want the result, but they do not want the repetition. They want the harvest, but they do not want the quiet months of planting. Focus also requires you to stop starting too many things without finishing anything. Many people are addicted to beginnings because beginnings feel full of possibility. A new goal feels exciting. A new plan feels powerful. A new idea feels fresh. A new identity feels inspiring. But finishing requires a different kind of strength. Finishing requires patience when excitement fades. Finishing requires discipline when nobody notices. Finishing requires humility when progress is slow. Finishing requires focus when other opportunities look more attractive. If you always jump from one thing to another, you may feel like you are moving, but you are not building roots anywhere. A life of unfinished beginnings becomes a graveyard of potential. As you get older, you must choose depth over constant novelty. You do not need 10 directions. You need one important direction followed with seriousness. You do not need to chase every idea that appears. You need to identify the ideas that truly matter and give them enough focused effort to become real. The world will always offer something new to distract you from what is necessary. There will always be a new method, new trend, new person, new fear, new opportunity, new excuse, and new reason to delay. But focused people do not let every new thing pull them away from the main thing. They understand that the life they want will require saying no to many good distractions, not only bad ones. There is a painful truth you must accept if you want to become stronger. You cannot have everything. You cannot become deeply focused and constantly distracted at the same time. You cannot build a meaningful future while giving your strongest attention to temporary entertainment. You cannot become peaceful while constantly consuming noise. You cannot become wise while filling your mind with shallow information. You cannot become disciplined while living by impulse. Every life is shaped by trade-offs. When you say yes to distraction, you are saying no to something else. When you say yes to focus, you are saying no to the things that would have stolen your future. Maturity is learning to choose your losses wisely. Many people do not lack potential. They lack mental boundaries. They allow anything to enter their attention. They wake up and immediately give their mind to the world. Before they even remember their purpose, they check messages, news, social media, comments, problems, and other people's lives. Their mind begins the day scattered, reactive, and influenced by outside noise. Then they wonder why they cannot focus. As you get older, your mornings must become more protected. The first part of your day should not belong to everyone else. It should belong to your peace, your priorities, your body, your mind, and your direction. A focused morning often creates a stronger day. The same is true for your nights. What you feed your mind before sleep shapes your emotional state, your rest, and your thoughts the next morning. If you end every night with drama, comparison, scrolling, fear, or emotional overthinking, you train your mind to carry noise into rest. As you get older, you must stop treating your mind like something that can be filled with anything and still produce peace. Protect your endings. Close the day with something that strengthens you, calms you, or reminds you of who you are becoming. Your attention before sleep is not small. It is part of how you train your inner world. Focus also requires removing unnecessary access. If everyone can reach you at any time, everyone can interrupt your life. Many people lose focus because they are too available. Available to messages, available to drama, available to opinions, available to last-minute requests, available to people who only want their energy, available to noise that does not deserve urgency. You do not need to become rude, but you must become less interruptible. Protecting your focus may require delayed replies, silent hours, closed doors, private work, and the courage to let people wait. If your future matters, your attention cannot remain open to everything. As you get older, you must stop confusing responsiveness with responsibility. Just because something asks for your attention does not mean it deserves your attention immediately. A notification is not a command. A message is not always an emergency. Someone else's mood is not always your assignment. Someone else's drama is not always your responsibility. The world will always try to convince you that everything is urgent, but wisdom teaches you that urgency is not the same as importance. Many urgent things will mean nothing tomorrow. Many important things will shape the rest of your life. Focus is the ability to choose the important even when the urgent is louder. Another powerful part of focus is learning to work while imperfect. Many people delay focused effort because they wait for the perfect mood, perfect plan, perfect confidence, perfect timing, perfect environment, or perfect understanding. They tell themselves they will begin when they feel ready, but readiness often comes after action, not before it. Focus is not waiting for perfect conditions. Focus is learning to move forward with the conditions you have while improving as you go. The older you get, the less you can afford perfectionism disguised as patience. Sometimes you are not waiting for the right time. You are avoiding the discomfort of serious effort. Perfectionism is one of the most respectable-looking forms of procrastination. It convinces you that you are being careful, thoughtful, or strategic, when in reality you are afraid to begin. You keep planning, editing, preparing, researching, imagining, and delaying because starting would expose you to failure. But a focused life requires courage to be imperfect in motion. You can improve what exists. You cannot improve what you never start. You can refine what you build. You cannot refine what remains trapped in your imagination. As you get older, you must stop protecting your ego from the discomfort of growth. Begin badly if you must, but begin. Continue slowly if you must, but continue. Focus also requires managing your relationship with fear. Fear is a master distractor because it can make you busy with everything except the thing you are afraid to face. You may clean your room, check your phone, organize small tasks, help everyone else, consume more information, or convince yourself you are preparing, when the truth is that you are avoiding the work that scares you. Fear will always offer easier tasks to keep you away from meaningful ones. It will tell you that you are not ready, not smart enough, not strong enough, not experienced enough, not young enough, not lucky enough. But focus answers fear with action. It says, I may be afraid, but I will still give my attention to what matters. As you get older, you must become more careful about the people around you, because focus is deeply influenced by environment. If you spend most of your time with people who have no direction, no discipline, no seriousness, no respect for growth, and no desire to improve, your focus will constantly be pulled downward. You may think you are strong enough to remain unaffected, but environments shape rhythms silently. People who gossip often will pull you into gossip. People who waste time casually will make wasting time feel normal. People who mock ambition will make you hide your own. People who live by impulse will make discipline look extreme. If you want to focus better, surround yourself with reminders of the person you are becoming, not constant invitations to remain who you were. This does not mean you judge people harshly. It means you choose influence wisely. Everyone deserves kindness, but not everyone deserves closeness. Everyone has a path, but not every path should become your environment. As you get older, you must stop placing your future in rooms that laugh at growth. You must stop explaining your seriousness to people committed to distraction. You must stop shrinking your ambition so others feel comfortable with their lack of direction. Focus sometimes requires distance from anything that keeps making your purpose feel unnecessary. One of the most powerful skills in life is the ability to say no. No to distractions, no to unnecessary invitations, no to emotional chaos, no to old habits, no to people who drain your attention, no to temporary pleasures that weaken long-term strength, no to the version of you that keeps choosing comfort over calling. Many people cannot focus because they cannot say no. They keep adding more to their life without removing anything. They want more peace, but they refuse to say no to noise. They want more success, but they refuse to say no to wasted time. They want more discipline, but they refuse to say no to impulse. Every meaningful yes requires a strong no somewhere else. As you get older, you must also improve your ability to focus on one day at a time. Many people lose focus because they become overwhelmed by the size of their dreams or the weight of their problems. They think too far ahead and become afraid. They look at the whole mountain and feel defeated before taking one step. But a focused person understands that the future is built through today. You do not need to solve your whole life in one moment. You need to give today the right attention. You need to complete the task in front of you. You need to keep the promise in front of you. You need to take the step available now. Massive change often begins by respecting the small portion of life that belongs to this day. Focus does not mean you never rest, never laugh, never enjoy life, or never make space for beauty. A focused life is not a joyless life. In fact, real focus can make life more peaceful because you are no longer constantly haunted by what you are avoiding. Rest feels better when it is earned with effort. Entertainment feels better when it does not replace purpose. Relationships feel better when they do not destroy your direction. Silence feels better when your mind is not full of guilt from wasted days. Focus gives your life order, and order creates room for peace. A scattered life may chase pleasure constantly, but it rarely experiences deep satisfaction. The older you get, the more you will understand that focus is not only a mental skill, it is a spiritual and emotional discipline. It requires you to know what deserves your life and what does not. It requires you to stop being seduced by every shiny thing. It requires you to stop letting boredom control your choices. It requires you to stop making your attention cheap. It requires you to stop living like your future is guaranteed. Focus becomes powerful when you realize that your attention is your life being spent in real time. Every moment you give away is a piece of your life you will never hold again. There will be seasons when focus feels difficult because your mind has been trained in distraction for years. Do not hate yourself for that, but do not excuse it either. A scattered mind can be retrained. Start by creating fewer openings for distraction. Put distance between you and the things that constantly interrupt you. Work in smaller blocks if you must. Choose one important task and complete it before moving to the next. Turn off what keeps pulling you away. Remove what weakens your attention. Practice returning to the task every time your mind wanders. Focus grows through repetition, just like strength grows through training. At first it feels uncomfortable, then it becomes possible. Eventually it becomes part of who you are. You must also learn to focus on progress instead of perfection, because perfection often destroys consistency. A focused person does not ask, "Can I do this perfectly today?" They ask, "Can I move this forward today?" That question is more powerful because it removes the pressure to be flawless and replaces it with the responsibility to keep moving. Some days your progress will be small. Some days it will be messy. Some days it will be slower than you hoped. But small progress repeated with focus becomes transformation. The person who moves slowly in the right direction will eventually pass the person who keeps waiting to begin perfectly. Focus also means protecting yourself from comparison-based distraction. Many people lose their direction because they keep looking sideways. They see someone else growing faster, earning more, looking better, living differently, and suddenly their own path feels wrong. But your focus becomes weak when your eyes are constantly measuring your life against someone else's. You do not know their whole story. You do not know their timing. You do not know their sacrifices. You do not know their private pain. You do not know whether the life you admire from a distance would even bring peace to your soul. As you get older, you must become mature enough to respect your path without needing it to look like everyone else's. There is a special kind of power in becoming difficult to distract. People can feel it. You no longer jump at every emotional hook. You no longer abandon your direction for every temporary feeling. You no longer let small problems become the center of your life. You no longer allow every opinion to enter your mind and rearrange your confidence. You become grounded. Your presence becomes stronger because your attention is not scattered. Your work improves because your mind is actually there. Your relationships improve because you are more present. Your peace improves because you stop feeding every noise that wants to live inside you. A focused person becomes dangerous in the best way because they are no longer easy to control. You cannot easily control someone who knows where their attention belongs. You cannot easily manipulate someone who does not need constant approval. You cannot easily distract someone whose purpose has become stronger than their impulses. You cannot easily pull someone back into old patterns when they are committed to a new direction. This is why focus is power. It makes your life less available to chaos. It makes your mind less available to useless noise. It makes your future less vulnerable to temporary emotion. As you continue aging, life will test your focus with many forms of distraction. It will test you with comfort when you need discipline. It will test you with fear when you need courage. It will test you with praise when you need humility. It will test you with criticism when you need steadiness. It will test you with loneliness when you need self-respect. It will test you with delay when you need patience. It will test you with options when you need commitment. If your focus is weak, every test will move you. If your focus is strong, every test will train you. You must remember that your future self is depending on the focus you practice now. The older version of you will either live in the results of your attention or suffer from the consequences of your distraction. One day, you will meet the life you built with your daily focus. You will either see the strength that came from protecting your attention, or you will see the emptiness that came from spending your life on things that never deserved it. That moment will not be created suddenly. It is being created now, in the way you spend your mornings, your nights, your energy, your thoughts, and your attention. As this chapter closes, take this truth seriously. Distraction is not harmless when it becomes a lifestyle. It is a quiet thief that steals your discipline, your clarity, your confidence, your progress, and your future one small moment at a time. But focus is the force that gathers your life back into your own hands. Focus allows you to build instead of only imagine. Focus allows you to heal instead of only remember. Focus allows you to grow instead of only wish. Focus allows you to become older, wiser, and stronger with evidence, not just words. Protect your attention like it is sacred, because it is. Where your focus goes, your life follows. And if you want your life to rise, your focus must stop kneeling before everything that was designed to keep you distracted. Chapter 7. Improve your purpose before regret becomes the loudest voice in your life. As you get older, the final and perhaps most important thing you must improve is your purpose. Because without purpose, life slowly becomes a repetition of days that look different on the outside but feel empty on the inside. A person can wake up, work, eat, scroll, talk, sleep, repeat, and still feel like something deep within them is missing. They may have responsibilities, people around them, things to do, bills to pay, places to go, and moments of entertainment, but beneath all of it there is a quiet question that refuses to disappear. Is this really the life I was meant to live? That question becomes louder with age because time has a way of removing distractions and revealing whether you are truly building something meaningful or only surviving one day after another. Purpose is not only about becoming famous, rich, admired, successful, or recognized by the world. Purpose is deeper than public achievement. Purpose is the inner direction that gives your life weight, meaning, discipline, and emotional strength. It is the reason you rise when comfort tells you to stay down. It is the reason you keep growing when nobody notices. It is the reason you stop wasting your strongest years on things that do not feed your future. A person with purpose does not need every day to feel exciting because they know every disciplined day is still part of something larger. A person without purpose can have endless entertainment and still feel empty because pleasure can distract you for a moment, but it cannot replace meaning. Many people lose their purpose without realizing it. They do not wake up one morning and decide to waste their life. It happens slowly. They give 1 year to distraction, another year to fear, another year to people who drain them, another year to habits that weaken them, another year to excuses that sound reasonable, and before they know it, they are older but not closer to the person they once imagined becoming. They tell themselves they will begin when life becomes easier, when money is better, when confidence arrives, when people support them, when the timing feels perfect, or when they finally understand everything. But purpose does not wait for perfect conditions. Purpose begins when you decide that your life is too valuable to keep postponing. As you get older, you must stop treating your purpose like an optional dream and start treating it like a responsibility. Your purpose is not something you visit only when you feel inspired. It is something you must serve, even when your emotions are not ready. Many people never reach their deeper calling because they keep making their future depend on their mood. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel tired, they disappear. If someone discourages them, they stop. If progress is slow, they lose faith. But purpose requires a stronger character than that. Purpose asks you to become the kind of person who can keep walking even when the road is quiet, slow, lonely, and misunderstood. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not failure. It is living so carefully, so distracted, so afraid, and so dependent on approval that you never truly attempt the life that was calling you. Failure can teach you. Rejection can strengthen you. Delay can mature you. Pain can deepen you. But wasted potential becomes a different kind of sorrow because it follows you with the question, what could I have become if I had finally taken myself seriously? That question is heavy. It is heavier than discipline. It is heavier than sacrifice. It is heavier than discomfort. This is why you must improve your purpose before regret becomes the loudest voice in your life. Regret often arrives when a person realizes they kept giving their best energy to things that did not matter. They spent years trying to impress people who were not important to their destiny. They stayed in arguments that did not build anything. They chased relationships that only left them empty. They compared themselves to strangers while their own path remained neglected. They consumed endless content but created nothing meaningful. They talked about change but never changed their routine. They dreamed of a better life but never became disciplined enough to build it. Then time passed and the truth became impossible to ignore. Their life did not remain the same because they lacked potential. It remained the same because they kept choosing distraction over direction. Purpose forces you to become honest about what deserves your life. Not just your time, but your life, because every hour you spend is not merely an hour. It is a piece of your existence that will never return. Every day you give to something meaningless is a day taken from something meaningful. Every year spent avoiding your purpose is a year your future self cannot recover. This does not mean every moment must be serious, productive, or intense. Rest matters, joy matters, relationships matter, peace matters. But a life without purpose becomes dangerous because it turns comfort into a hiding place and distraction into a lifestyle. Many people are not lazy in the deepest sense. They are lost. They do not know why they are doing what they are doing, so they escape into whatever is easy. They wake up with no clear direction, so the world gives them one. Their phone tells them what to think about. Other people's opinions tell them what to care about. Their fears tell them what to avoid. Their emotions tell them where to return. Their environment tells them how low to stay. Without purpose, you become easy to pull, easy to distract, easy to influence, and easy to delay. Purpose gives your life a spine. It helps you stand upright when the world keeps trying to bend your attention toward everything except what matters. As you get older, your purpose must become stronger than your need for comfort. Comfort is not evil, but comfort becomes dangerous when it becomes the ruler of your decisions. If you only do what feels comfortable, you will never become what requires courage. Purpose will ask you to wake up when sleeping longer feels easier. Purpose will ask you to learn when entertainment feels easier. Purpose will ask you to say no when pleasing people feels easier. Purpose will ask you to build when complaining feels easier. Purpose will ask you to face the truth when denial feels easier. The life you want is often located on the other side of the comfort you keep protecting. Purpose also needs sacrifice. This is the part many people resist. They want a meaningful life, but they do not want to release the habits that keep life shallow. They want peace, but they continue feeding drama. They want strength, but they continue feeding weakness. They want growth, but they continue feeding distraction. They want success, but they continue feeding excuses. They want to become respected, but they do not respect the demands of their own calling. You cannot carry everything into the life you are meant to build. Some habits must be left behind. Some people must be loved from a distance. Some pleasures must be reduced. Some old versions of you must be allowed to end quietly. There is a difference between having a dream and having a purpose. A dream can live in your imagination for years and still ask nothing from you. Purpose steps into your daily life and demands action. A dream says, "One day I want this." Purpose says, "What are you doing today that proves it matters?" A dream can make you feel inspired for a moment. Purpose can make you disciplined for a lifetime. A dream can be talked about endlessly. Purpose must be practiced quietly. Many people love their dreams because dreams allow them to feel successful without doing the work. But purpose removes the illusion. It asks for evidence. It asks for consistency. It asks whether your life is aligned with the future you keep describing. As you get older, you must become careful not to confuse busyness with purpose. Many people are busy, but not directed. They are busy reacting to responsibilities, busy answering messages, busy helping everyone else, busy running from silence, busy solving problems that keep repeating, busy maintaining a life that does not fulfill them, busy moving but not growing. Busyness can make you feel important while hiding the fact that your deeper purpose is being ignored. A purposeful life is not always filled with more activity. Sometimes it is filled with more clarity. It does not ask, "How much can I do?" It asks, "What truly matters enough to receive my best effort?" Purpose also requires you to stop living for the approval of people who will not carry the consequences of your wasted life. This is important because many people abandon their purpose to satisfy the expectations of others. They choose paths that make other people comfortable. They hide their gifts because they fear judgment. They shrink their dreams because someone laughed. They delay their growth because their environment does not understand their hunger. But the people you are trying to please will not live inside your regret. They will not wake up in your body years from now wondering why you never became who you were meant to become. They may criticize your effort, misunderstand your path, or doubt your vision, but they cannot pay the cost of your unused potential. That cost will be yours. A mature person understands that purpose will not always be understood by everyone. Some people will only understand the version of you that matches their expectations. They will support you as long as your growth does not make them uncomfortable. They will praise your dreams as long as those dreams remain small enough not to challenge their own lack of courage. They may call you unrealistic, too serious, changed, distant, obsessed, or different when you begin taking your life seriously. Let them. You are not required to remain small so others feel safe around your potential. You are not required to explain every step of your becoming to people who only understand the old version of you. As you get older, your purpose must also become stronger than your past. Many people allow old mistakes, failures, heartbreaks, disappointments, and regrets to convince them that it is too late to build something meaningful. They say, "I wasted too much time. I missed too many chances." I made too many mistakes. I am too far behind. Other people are already ahead. But purpose does not ask whether your past was perfect. Purpose asks whether you are willing to begin from where you are. Some of the strongest people in the world were built after seasons of pain, failure, delay, and loss. They did not become powerful because life was easy. They became powerful because one day they refused to let the past remain the author of their future. You must stop using your age as an excuse to avoid growth. Some people say they are too young to be serious, then later they say they are too old to begin. They spend youth delaying maturity and adulthood mourning missed chances. But the truth is this: the best time to begin was before, and the second best time is now. You cannot go back and live your younger years with the wisdom you have today, but you can use today's wisdom to protect the years that remain. It is not too late to become disciplined. It is not too late to heal. It is not too late to learn. It is not too late to build. It is not too late to become someone your future self will respect. But it will become too late if you keep turning not yet into a lifestyle. Purpose does not always arrive as one clear voice telling you exactly what your whole life should become. Sometimes purpose begins as a burden you cannot ignore, a gift you keep hiding, a problem you feel called to solve, a skill you feel drawn to develop, a message you feel meant to share, a life you feel quietly pulled toward, or a responsibility that keeps returning to your heart. Many people wait for perfect certainty before they move, but purpose often becomes clearer through movement. You discover more while walking than while standing still. You learn your direction by taking steps, making mistakes, adjusting, trying, reflecting, and continuing. Clarity often rewards action. As you get older, one of your duties is to discover what gives your life meaning beyond temporary pleasure. Ask yourself what kind of work makes you feel alive. What kind of service makes your heart feel useful? What kind of growth makes you proud? What kind of pain you have survived that could become wisdom for others? What kind of skill you keep returning to? What kind of life you would regret not attempting? And what kind of person your soul knows you are capable of becoming? These questions are not easy, but they are necessary because a life without honest questions becomes a life lived on autopilot. And autopilot is dangerous because it can carry you for years in a direction you never consciously chose. Purpose also requires you to build something larger than your emotions. If your life is only guided by how you feel, your direction will change every day. One day you feel confident, so you begin. The next day you feel tired, so you stop. One day you feel inspired, so you believe. The next day you feel discouraged, so you doubt everything. Purpose gives you something deeper than mood. It becomes the reason you continue even when feelings change. It gives your discipline meaning. It gives your sacrifices a reason. It gives your pain a place to become useful. It gives your future a direction strong enough to survive temporary emotional weather. There is also a deep connection between purpose and pain. Many people try to forget their pain, but sometimes the pain you survived carries clues about the purpose you are meant to build. The loneliness you overcame may teach you how to guide others back to themselves. The failure you survived may teach you how to build resilience. The betrayal you endured may teach you the value of self-respect. The years you wasted may teach you the urgency of discipline. The anxiety you fought may teach you the importance of peace. This does not mean pain is good, but it means pain does not have to be wasted. A purposeful person turns wounds into wisdom, lessons into leadership, and survival into strength. As you get older, you must stop asking only, "What can I get from life?" and begin asking, "What can life receive through me?" This question changes everything. It moves you from consumption to contribution. It moves you from chasing attention to creating value. It moves you from needing to be seen to becoming useful. Many people remain empty because their life is built only around getting comfort, getting approval, getting pleasure, getting money, getting attention, getting validation, and getting more. But the human soul also needs to give, build, serve, create, protect, teach, heal, and leave something meaningful behind. Purpose grows when your life stops revolving only around what you can take and begins expanding into what you can give. This does not mean you must save the world or carry everyone's burdens. It means your life should become useful in a way that matches your gifts, values, and season. Maybe your purpose is to build a strong family, create honest work, teach what you know, write what you have learned, heal yourself so you do not pass pain forward, become an example of discipline, serve your community, master a craft, build a business, help others grow, or simply become a person whose presence brings peace instead of damage. Purpose can be quiet and still be powerful. A meaningful life does not always need a large audience. Sometimes the most important purpose is lived faithfully in ordinary places. But purpose will remain weak if you keep waiting for applause before you honor it. Many important things begin unnoticed. The early days of growth are often quiet. No one may praise your discipline. No one may see your private effort. No one may understand why you are changing. No one may clap when you choose focus over distraction. No one may celebrate when you stop wasting time. No one may notice the inner battles you are winning. But purpose is not built for immediate applause. It is built because something inside you knows the work matters even before the world recognizes it. If you need constant validation to continue, your purpose will remain fragile. If you can continue without being seen, your purpose becomes strong. As you get older, purpose will ask you to stop making excuses that sound intelligent but keep you stagnant. You may say you are still planning, still researching, still waiting, still healing, still preparing, still looking for the right moment, still not ready. Some of these things may be partly true, but they can also become hiding places. There comes a point when planning must become action, research must become practice, healing must happen while you move, preparation must become execution, waiting must become courage. You do not need to know the entire road before taking the first serious step. If you keep demanding certainty before movement, you may spend your life staring at the door instead of walking through it. Purpose also teaches you to measure success differently. Without purpose, you may measure your life only by comparison, money, status, attention, or speed. But with purpose, you begin asking better questions. Am I becoming more disciplined? Am I living closer to my values? Am I using my gifts? Am I becoming more honest? Am I creating something meaningful? Am I serving something beyond my ego? Am I becoming the kind of person I would respect if no one else were watching? These questions build a deeper life. They help you stop chasing empty applause and start building quiet dignity. One of the greatest enemies of purpose is the fear of being ordinary. Many people avoid beginning because they fear their work will not be special enough, their voice will not be unique enough, their effort will not be recognized enough, or their life will not look impressive enough. But purpose is not about looking extraordinary to others. It is about being faithful to what is yours to build. Many powerful lives are created through ordinary actions done with extraordinary consistency. The world may not notice your first step, your first page, your first attempt, your first lesson, your first small improvement, but those ordinary beginnings can become the foundation of a life that finally feels honest. As you get older, you must become aware that regret does not usually come from the things you tried and failed at. It often comes from the things you never had the courage to attempt, the words you never said, the skill you never developed, the dream you kept postponing, the person you never became because you were too afraid of judgment, the life you kept imagining but never building. Failure may hurt, but unused courage haunts. Rejection may sting, but self-betrayal stays. Embarrassment may pass, but the question of what if can follow a person for years. This is why purpose requires courage, not loud courage, quiet courage. The courage to take yourself seriously before life forces you to mourn what you never tried. Purpose must also become connected to your daily habits, because a purpose that does not reach your routine remains only an idea. If you say your purpose matters, your calendar should show evidence, your mornings should show evidence, your priorities should show evidence, your spending should show evidence, your focus should show evidence, Your relationships should show evidence. It is easy to say something is important. It is harder to let that importance reorganize your life. A person living with purpose eventually begins cutting away what does not align. They stop giving prime energy to secondary things. They stop treating distractions like emergencies. They stop allowing every mood to cancel their commitment. Their life may not become perfect, but it becomes more intentional. As you get older, your purpose should make you more responsible, not more proud. Some people discover ambition and become arrogant. They begin looking down on others, acting superior, and treating their goals as proof that they are better than those around them. That is not true purpose. True purpose humbles you because it makes you aware of how much work remains, how much discipline is required, how many people helped you, how much grace you have received, and how serious life truly is. Purpose should make you stronger, but also kinder, more focused, but also more grounded, more ambitious, but also more honest. The goal is not to become someone who feels above others. The goal is to become someone who is no longer beneath their own potential. There will be seasons when your purpose feels unclear, and in those seasons you must keep improving what is obvious. Even if you do not know the full mission of your life, you know discipline matters, you know honesty matters, you know health matters, you know learning matters, you know emotional control matters, you know good character matters, you know wasting time will not help, you know toxic habits will not help, you know comparison will not help, you know waiting forever will not help. When the bigger picture feels unclear, obey the small truths you already understand. Purpose often becomes clearer to the person who is already becoming stronger. As you get older, you must build a life that can survive disappointment. Purpose does not mean everything will go smoothly. You may work hard and still face delay. You may try and still fail. You may give your best and still be misunderstood. You may sacrifice and still not see immediate results. This is where many people quit, because their purpose was secretly attached to quick rewards. But real purpose deepens when it survives disappointment. It says, even if this takes longer than I hoped, it still matters. It says, even if nobody understands yet, I will keep building. It says, even if I fail, I will learn and return stronger. Purpose gives pain a direction instead of letting pain become an ending. You must also understand that purpose is not only about what you do, but who you become while doing it. You can achieve goals and still become empty if the journey destroys your character. You can gain success and lose peace. You can gain money and lose integrity. You can gain attention and lose humility. You can gain recognition and lose yourself. A wise purpose protects the soul as much as it builds the future. It asks not only, what am I building, but also, what is this building inside me? If your pursuit makes you more bitter, dishonest, selfish, cruel, or disconnected from your values, then something must be examined. Purpose should refine you, not corrupt you. As the years pass, you will begin to understand that the strongest people are not always the ones with the most visible success. Sometimes the strongest people are those who live with quiet direction, who keep their word, who serve faithfully, who build slowly, who love wisely, who protect their peace, who learn from pain, who improve after failure, who stop wasting their life on things that do not matter, and who become better even when nobody is watching. That kind of strength may not always be loud, but it is real. It creates a life that feels solid from within. Purpose will also help you make peace with sacrifice. When you know what truly matters, saying no becomes easier. You no longer feel guilty for not attending every distraction. You no longer feel bad for protecting your time. You no longer feel strange for outgrowing environments that keep you small. You no longer feel pressured to explain why you are serious. Purpose gives your no a reason. It helps you understand that every yes to your future requires a no to something that wants to waste it. Without purpose, sacrifice feels like loss. With purpose, sacrifice feels like alignment. As you get older, you must stop waiting for life to give you meaning while you continue living without intention. Meaning is often created through responsibility. When you take responsibility for your growth, your relationships, your work, your health, your mind, your habits, your healing, and your contribution, life begins to feel different. You stop feeling like a passenger, you become a participant. You stop asking why nothing changes and begin changing what is yours to change. You stop waiting for motivation and begin honoring commitment. You stop drifting and begin directing. This is one of the most powerful shifts a person can make. There is a deep peace that comes from knowing you are living with purpose. Even if your life is not perfect, you may still have problems, you may still have unanswered questions, you may still be building slowly, you may still face uncertainty, but beneath everything there is a steadiness because you know you are not wasting yourself. You know your days have direction. You know your pain is becoming wisdom. You know your effort is building something. You know your life is not only being consumed by distraction. That peace is valuable. It is different from temporary happiness. It is the peace of alignment. As this final chapter moves toward its close, I want you to imagine the older version of yourself sitting quietly years from now. Imagine that version looking back at this season of your life. What will they wish you had started? What will they thank you for ending? What habit will they be grateful you finally broke? What dream will they be proud you finally honored? What distraction will they wish you had stopped feeding? What relationship will they be grateful you stopped chasing? What purpose will they wish you had taken seriously before time became harder to ignore? This image matters because your future self is not created in the future. Your future self is being created by what you choose now. Do not wait until regret becomes the teacher. Regret is a painful teacher because it often arrives after the easiest opportunities have passed. Wisdom is a better teacher if you listen early enough. You still have today. You still have attention. You still have breath. You still have choices. You still have the ability to improve something, release something, begin something, heal something, build something, and become something stronger than you were yesterday. That is not a small gift. That is life still offering you a door. Purpose will not make every day easy, but it will make your days meaningful. It will not remove every struggle, but it will give struggle a direction. It will not stop you from feeling fear, but it will give you a reason to move with fear beside you. It will not make you perfect, but it will keep calling you upward. It will not guarantee that everyone understands you, but it will teach you that understanding yourself is more important than being approved by everyone else. Purpose gives your life a center, and when your life has a center, you are not as easily pulled apart by every storm. As this chapter closes, remember this truth with your whole heart. Getting older without purpose creates emptiness, but getting older with purpose creates power. A person with purpose does not merely count years, they invest them. They do not merely survive experiences, they learn from them. They do not merely collect regrets, they transform them into wisdom. They do not merely dream about becoming better, they build evidence through discipline, focus, standards, emotional control, self-respect, and meaningful action. Your purpose does not have to be perfect today, but it must become important enough that you stop delaying it. Because one day the question will not be how old you became, the question will be what you became while time was passing. As this audiobook comes to an end, remember this truth with full attention. Getting older is not what makes a person powerful, and age alone does not turn anyone into someone wiser, stronger, calmer, or more respected. Time passes for everyone, but growth only belongs to the person who chooses it. Some people collect years and become heavier with regret, while others collect lessons and become deeper with wisdom. Some people let life harden them into bitterness, while others allow every season to shape them into discipline, peace, strength, and purpose. You do not need to become perfect after hearing this audiobook. You do not need to fix your entire life in one night, change every habit in one morning, or become a completely different person before tomorrow begins, but you do need to become honest. Honest about what is draining your energy, honest about where your discipline is weak, honest about which emotions keep controlling you, honest about the standards you keep lowering, Honest about the relationship you have with yourself? Honest about the distractions stealing your focus? Honest about the purpose you keep delaying while time continues moving forward? Because one day, your future self will look back at this season of your life and ask a question that cannot be avoided. Did you use this time to grow, or did you only allow time to pass? Did you become stronger, or did you keep repeating the same excuses? Did you protect your peace, or did you keep giving it away? Did you build the life you knew was possible, or did you stay loyal to comfort until regret became louder than your dreams? The good news is that your story is not finished. The years behind you may contain mistakes, delays, heartbreaks, wasted chances, weak habits, and painful lessons, but the years ahead of you can still carry discipline, wisdom, peace, focus, purpose, strength, and quiet pride. You cannot return to the past and live it differently, but you can stand in this moment and decide that the next chapter will not be wasted the same way. So leave this audiobook with one promise to yourself. Promise that you will stop waiting for life to force maturity out of you. Promise that you will stop delaying the habits your future needs. Promise that you will protect your energy like it is sacred. Control your emotions before they control your decisions. Raise your standards before life keeps giving you what you keep accepting. Build a stronger relationship with yourself. Sharpen your focus, and live with a purpose that gives meaning to the years still ahead. Getting older is guaranteed. Getting wiser is a choice. Getting stronger is a decision you must prove every day. And if this audiobook spoke to your heart, subscribe to the Book Frog, like this video, and comment, "I choose to grow." Because your next chapter does not have to be a repeat of your old one. The younger version of you may have made mistakes. The current version of you may still be learning, but the older version of you deserves to look back one day and feel proud that you finally chose growth before regret chose you.